Hi TackleDirect fans, Patrick Sebile, lure designer at A Band of Anglers. Today I'd like to share with you about this guy. The name of this lure, the Worm Stick. So the Worm Stick is basically, well, yes indeed, a straight worm, no tail, just straight like this. But that's a buoyant made of soft tough material, and that means this lure comes packed with features. A lot of holes and slots. For example, 3 little slots here, here, and here to be able to hook the lure sideways. We'll see in 1 second why and when. We have cut here in the belly, cut here in the egg sac. We have also holes, 2 holes on that side, 1 hole on this side, and of course a hole at the end. So why so many holes? Well, because there are so many ways we can rig and use this bait. So for example, like here, if I want to fish finesse with light line, I'm going to use a thin wire, wide gap hook, front weight, and in that case I'm going to use the 1 hole that's alone on one side where it's flat. Actually, maybe hard to see on the camera, but that lure, that worm is round, but one side of a flat side. So you, in the case of finesse fishing, you want to put in the 1 hole that's right here, the hook eye, and you want to put and run your hook through where you already have a cut and a hole. So in that case, it's pretty weedless, but of course when you fish finesse, you don't fish in very heavy cover, and the hook is right here on the top, just holding perfectly. So if you have a light line, that's a great way to go. So you can cast, retrieve on a still retrieve, you can drag on the floor, you can have a gentle bumping and pause, and because it's buoyant, it always stays like this with that angle on the bottom. So that's really great, especially also on flipping and pitching. At the very other opposite, using the hole allow you for very unique action. For example, using that third hole right here and using a hook that comes from these sets of white belly hook and weights. Well, in that case, your worm will float on the top like this. And when you twitch the rod tip, it actually bend and make bubbles. Basically, that means it pops. So this is a floating worm that you can pop with, and it's pretty well if you have some little branch and cut tails in the water, you can just retrieve it straight. It makes a wake on the top, and the 2 parts of the worm have a bit of a fluttering action behind. That's really great, and pop it sometime and pause it sometime. Actually, another finesse approach now, split shot. You have your single hook, you can go through that 1 hole in the front, and now you have all the benefit of a finesse action with a split shot. But again, you have different holes, so instead of hooking into the plastic, which you can, but you already have the hole, so just go in that same hole that we used right before. So you just pass through that, and now you have that great deflection action with that little split hole, split weight. So just retrieve when you have, some branches, some cut tails and stuff like that. It deflect, or rocks deflect pretty well, and on the way down, you have that great fluttering action because it's being pulled by that split shot. So another great way to use that. The very opposite, well, you can flip it and even punch it. Just have the proper jig head and brush that goes for this kind of action, and the fact that's buoyant really matters because you can then gently jigging it through the cover, and that's a very, very efficient way. You can also just cast and have a still retrieve or jigging motion or swim it, thinking of lily pads, branches and stuff like that. Now you can have a regular jig head, that's great for bass, but that's also great for inshore fishing. So red, trout, snook, love it. Using a 1/4 or 1/8, sometimes a 3/8 ounce weight, that's a great jerk bait like this. With again, the very important thing is when you make a pose, it's gonna land like this, not like that, like this, because the buoyancy of the worm. You have a great jerking action. Truly, I love that for this simple use as a jerk bait. Now, we know that the net rigging is a fantastic way to use soft plastics, floating soft plastic. So here's a way to rig it. What you can notice here is we have these mushroom jig heads right here that I designed that have a patent. You can see there's 2 keepers on the hook itself, And basically below the worm we also have the holes to have the keepers holding properly. So now you have a good setting that holds very well, that have the right balance when you want to drag on the bottom, or if you just want to have a steady retrieve, and every pose you will go like this. And you have the big benefit of a hook I designed a long time ago that have an inverse curve to the shank, and thanks to that it keeps the hook, especially with the bass, it keeps the fish better hooked, less risk of losing your fish when the fish jump and shake the head. And the cut that you see on the back also allow not only to benefit of all the wide gap, so when you set the hook, on a regular soft plastic, you will have only that opening to help you hooking your bass. In this case, because the hook and the worm at this area are independent from each other, it really helps you to grab better the lip. For those of you who lost big bass, a few millimeters can make a big difference between landing or losing your cow, your trophy bass. So that's why this hook is perfectly fitted for the worm stick. And I want to finish with this. That's one of those weights, that are coming in that white belly hook kit, different weights. So here's the intermediate one, and as you can see, there are fingers on the top and underneath. So those two fingers allow for a good positioning in the holes that already exist with the worm stick. So in this case, you see I rig a single hook, and I just want to show you in real time. I wet the hook. Again, I'm going to use the hole, so I'm not hooking the plastic. Actually, I'm truly going through the hole that already exists. And now I'm putting my weight, making sure the two fingers will take their place right here and right there. And now I'm pulling back on my hook to put the hook in the right position. And now I have an head rig, but that's a sliding one. That means once I hook my bass, well, the whole worm and weight are going away. I have only the hook. So especially if you fish finesse, that's a much better way to catch your bass and land them than a jig head. So this is the worm stick, and I show you this worm stick together with the mushroom jig head and the white belly and hook system that Hyperlastic have to offer with this bait and other ones.